Have you ever wondered if true security lies behind locked doors and vigilant guards, or if it blossoms when the mind itself no longer trembles with fear? This ancient tale from a past life of the Buddha can shed some wisdom on how real freedom might not depend on external protections at all. By the end of this story, the first question may find a surprising answer. In the grove near Anupiya, a peaceful cluster of mango trees once served as a retreat for the Blessed One and several of his followers. Among them was the venerable Bhaddiya, who in his earlier days had lived as a nobleman. He had entered the monastic life alongside 5 other young nobles, all of whom later achieved different spiritual depths. Some reached significant insight, others cultivated special meditative powers, and still others stepped onto paths leading toward full awakening. Bhaddiya ultimately realized the state of an arahat, a liberation so complete that neither inner nor outer disturbances could bind him. He possessed a habit that intrigued many monks. Sometimes, in quiet forests or deserted spots, he would softly exclaim how happy he felt. The contrast was striking, for he had once protected himself relentlessly with guards. Even when asleep in his high palace chambers, he would remain tense, sure that hidden dangers lurked in every corridor. As a monk, he now wandered at ease, without a single guard by his side. Reflecting on this shift, he occasionally murmured words of wonder, reminding himself of the stark difference between restless vigilance and the unshaken peace he had come to know. Some monks, puzzled by Bhaddiya's exclamations, brought their observations to the Blessed One, who explained that Bhaddiya's joy sprang from comparing his old life of constant watchfulness to his present state of deep calm. The Blessed One went on to say that this was not the first time Bhaddiya had known such freedom. Even in a past life, he had tasted a relief that came from letting go of the need to guard himself. This past life account reached back to the reign of King Brahmadatta in the city of Benares. At that time, the one destined to become the Buddha was born as a hermit who lived in the Himalayan forests. He had turned away from worldly pursuits, recognizing that renunciation offered a path to deeper insight. Through disciplined practice, he attained lofty meditative states called the 8 endowments. Over time, 500 ascetics gathered around him, drawn to his calm presence. They followed him whenever he decided to spend the rainy season near populated areas, where they gathered alms and shared wisdom with those who showed interest. On one such journey, the hermit and his followers arrived in Benares. King Brahmadatta welcomed them, granting them space to live in his pleasure garden. For 4 months, the ascetics remained there, engaging in meditation and serving as a source of guidance for anyone who came with questions about life's deeper truths. When the rain subsided, the hermit prepared to return to his remote dwelling in the Himalayas. Feeling concern for the hermit's advanced age, the king offered that he remain in the garden, suggesting that the younger ascetics could return to the forest on their own. The hermit paused to consider the king's generous proposal. Realizing he could continue teaching people in the city, he asked his oldest disciple to lead the remaining ascetics back to the mountains. This disciple, too, had once been a king in a previous life. Like Bhaddiya, he had given up his throne for the monastic path. Through diligent meditative practice, he had mastered many states of deep concentration. Obeying the hermit's request, he guided his companions northward to the Himalayas. After a stretch of time in the mountains, the eldest disciple felt a strong urge to see his teacher again. Leaving the other ascetics in the forest, he journeyed back to Benares on his own. He approached the hermit with deep respect and settled on a simple mat beside him. Memories of his past worldly life flooded his mind, recalling how, as a king, he had employed countless guards yet never felt truly safe. Now, lying in a public garden with no soldiers in sight, he sensed a profound serenity. This difference moved him so deeply that he could only rest in silent wonder. Soon afterward, King Brahmadatta arrived in the garden, hoping to see the hermit. He spotted the visiting ascetic in a state of calm repose, not rising or bowing as a subject might. The king felt puzzled and slightly offended, suspecting that the ascetic was either unaware of his presence or willfully ignoring it. Yet the hermit discerned the king's reaction and offered an explanation. He revealed how the man had once ruled a kingdom as large as the king's own. Then, he had lived in near constant fear, guarding himself day and night without finding relief. Now, in the stillness of a renounced life, he felt a kind of well-being that far exceeded anything he had experienced as a monarch. The hermit, who was the bodhisattva in that life, used this example to share an important insight. A person who does not guard and does not need to be guarded is one who has surpassed the prison of anxiety. Real security lies in the mind's freedom from craving and dread. Hearing these words, King Brahmadatta understood that swords, walls, and lookouts could not deliver the peace that comes from an untroubled heart. Satisfied, he departed quietly, reflecting on what it might mean to feel safe without a fortress. The eldest disciple then bade farewell to his teacher and returned to the Himalayas. The hermit, for his part, stayed on in Benares, continuing his meditative life until he passed from that world and was reborn in a higher realm of spiritual refinement. Many ages later, he would complete his journey to perfect enlightenment as the Buddha. When the Blessed One finished recounting this story at Anupiya, he identified Bhaddiya as the eldest disciple in that distant past. The same pattern of transformation, shifting from fearful caution to unshakable peace, had reemerged, allowing Bhaddiya to delight in the freedom he now experienced. Other monks realized that Bhaddiya's exclamations were actually a quiet celebration of a release long in the making, one that spanned more than a single lifetime. Some who heard this account remarked on how little external measures could protect a mind beset by anxiety. They saw that no fortress remains stable if the heart inside its walls is full of dread. Others remembered that the hermit had essentially shown King Brahmadatta a simple truth. A restless mind can never be stilled by outer guards alone. By confronting the root causes of fear within, one discovers a lasting refuge that cannot be undermined by worldly threats. The Blessed One confirmed that what individuals needed was not a series of elaborate precautions, but the wisdom to observe how clinging fuels anxiety. Even the greatest king of Benares had learned that realization, all because a former king-turned-ascetic had shown how contentment thrives in a mind free of constant worry. These memories spread quietly among the community, offering a lesson about letting go. In time, the Buddha and his disciples prepared to leave the grove, continuing their journey to spread understanding and compassion. Many monks carried a new sense of confidence about what truly kept a mind secure. They often reflected on Bhaddiya's soft exclamations of gratitude and how he embodied the very lesson that outer walls do not settle the inner heart. Some felt that, even when traveling through unfamiliar regions, they would handle uncertainty more serenely, knowing that real protection lay in calm awareness rather than in any physical barrier. Moments before they departed, Bhaddiya was seen standing at the edge of the mango trees, looking at the open road as if nothing in the world could shake him. A few monks felt uplifted by the sight, remembering the old story about a king who once could not sleep, despite all the guards at his command, and now walked freely without fear. No one spoke these words aloud, but many felt them echo in the quiet orchard. The one who guards not and needs no guard truly lives in peace. In that thought, the entire tale found its conclusion, offering a gentle nudge to anyone longing for real security. It reminded them that a mind unburdened by fear is safer than a fortress of stone.